Hi, I'm Seamless, and today I want to talk about goals. Specifically my goals. This isn't actually really any kind of advice I'm going to give anybody. This is just kind of about me. I hope my camera freaking out isn't going to be a problem. It seems to be pretty stable at the moment, but that's, time will tell. Anyway, so goals. Something that's sort of illuminated about my goals happened during this whole hardstyle thing. And it came from some people who were giving me comments that I shouldn't be trying to copy other sound like producers or a genre. I should instead just try to do my own version of what that is. And I could do that, and in the grand scheme of things, that would be the smart play. But that's really if my goal is to try and make music as my music, make my own music, and that's still a goal that I have. But honestly, my main goal isn't really about making music; it's about being able to make music. I kind of want to be in a position where I can make with whatever I've got anything I want. And that's kind of always what I've been working towards, especially with the way that I learn sound design, the way that how I learned to do sound design. It's mostly born of having that limitation when I first started out being a producer. Because when you're starting out as a producer, unless you already know what you want to do, chances are you hear a lot of cool stuff. You'd be thinking, I want to do all of that before you really find what your niche is, and then you own that, and then that's you. That's your signature sound. But in the beginning, there's just a lot of stuff and just being like, whoa, I want to do that. Especially if you're not really as familiar with music as I was not when I started out. Because, I produce music and then I hear noise and I'm just like, I want to do that. But then I have absolutely no idea how to do that because I've been producing for 4 minutes. So, like, I've told the story before about how back in the day there weren't really a lot of resources. There weren't a lot of places I could go to learn how to do some stuff. And the kind of information that I was looking for is the kind of information most people as producers try to find, which is kind of like, I have this plugin. How do I get this plugin to do what I want? If I can't do that, what plugin do I need to get to do what I want? And so they ask questions like, how do I do dubstep with Massive? Or what plugin is best for drum and bass? That kind of thing. And that's not an unreasonable thing to ask, really. Especially if you don't know enough about engineering and that kind of thing. That's really all you can ask. So after doing that for a while and realizing, just a tip of the iceberg of how really everything is based on the same kind of molecular concepts of what sound design is. Subtractive synthesis, FM, additive, wavetable, that kind of stuff. I realized that if I can learn the lowest level of that stuff, I could figure out how to do anything. That's kind of like if you were to learn how to code in binary, then you wouldn't need to worry about all the other compiler languages. And it would be tremendously difficult and an unbelievable waste of time, which is kind of what this kind of educational route I took really was. Because what really did it get me? In 11 years, what that's gotten me is that I am in a position where, for the most part, I can make any kind of music there is, with very few exceptions. And for the ones that I don't know, like, for example, this hardstyle thing, I have a reasonable path to figuring it out. It takes some time, it takes some effort, but I can do it. And it won't take me 30 years. And that's really what I wanted to have, because it means that when I am struck by a cool idea, I do hear something that I want to be able to do, I can just do it because I know enough about what everybody is using to make this stuff that I'm almost never limited in what I've got, even if what I've got is the lowest of the low level stuff. Which I'm not saying FL is, but if I don't know, if I'm in some shack in the middle of nowhere and all I've got is a MacBook from 1998. I don't even know they had MacBooks back then, but you know what I mean. If I had, I can make whatever I want with whatever I've got. And when I said really, really, it's not, that's probably the hardest way you can conceive of to actually go about doing that kind of stuff. And it's not that I necessarily recommend that if your goal is just to make music. Because there are plenty of fully successful, highly, highly regarded, very famous producers who make extremely popular music that everyone likes a lot that do not know as much as I do about what they're doing. It's because they don't need to, and neither do you, really. You can rely on just your gut and your instinct about how some things sound, and you can work with what you have to make it sound really neat. And you don't really need to know about what you're doing, because technology and software are getting to the point where people could just use the stuff without really understanding how it works, which didn't always used to be the case. And that's fine. I'm not saying that you need to be doing what I'm doing, and that's because specifically what I want to do It's not so much that I want to make music. I just want to be able to make music. I want to be able to make whatever the hell I feel like making at any given time. Because a lot of people know me for the kind of dubsteppy, sound designy bass kind of stuff, and that's obviously what like I've built my channel on, how to bass and that kind of thing. But I do a whole bunch of other crap all the time. I'm in a metal band. I I have researched a lot about various different kinds of metal, and for the most part, I can make whatever kind of metal there is pretty easily. And I even do like orchestra stuff, like that FL12 trailer that I did. A lot of people don't know that I did that, even though my name's on it. And this is because they didn't just assume that I did. Why would they assume that I could do that? That kind of stuff. Like I run the entire gamut of like what I understand music to be. And I say what I understand music to be because I'm sure there's plenty of stuff that I would have a hard time doing. Like anything that's not on a 12-tone scale, I would have a hard time understanding. But I at least know enough about how to do the kind of stuff that I could figure it out. And it won't take me 30 years to do that. And that's kind of the position I want to be in. I want to, like, the kind of career this is leading me towards is sort of twofold. One is the educational aspect, which is what I got going for me, where because I'm going towards having that kind of encyclopedic understanding of a lot of different kinds of music, that I can leverage that as a resource for other people to learn what they want to do for their very specific kind of music. And the other side of this is that I could become an extremely valuable producer that could do whatever anyone wants or needs. I might not be the best at it, as any sort of jack of all trades ends up being, is that they are good at a lot of things and master of none. But like with enough time, I could become a master of a freaking lot. Not that I'm saying that I am now, but that's sort of been my goal. And so with the hardstyle stuff, people say that they should do your own seamless thing, do like your version of it. I may one day do that because honestly, I am kind of getting into the genre. But what I'm doing right now is mostly a test to see if I can figure out how to do a bog standard hardstyle track. Never mind that no hardstyle fan can agree on what that is. I at least have my idea of what it is, and I'm pursuing the test of trying to figure that out. And I mean, so far it's going about the way I expected it to. Like I was a little full of myself when I assumed that the hardstyle kick would be, a lot easier than it actually is. It's different. It's definitely difficult. It's still not the hardest kind of sound design there is, but it's a bit. I have a newfound respect for that and for the people who produce that kind of stuff. But over time, there's definitely been like a noticeable improvement. But between like my first ideas of what a hardstyle kick is versus what I'm going to show today when I do my live stream on Twitch later, twitch.com/SeamlessR, by the way. Twitch.tv/SeamlessR. There's a link in the description, I think. And like when I because I've been doing behind the scenes research on the genre and the sound so that I can be ready to have the streams work. And like I'm making massive improvements as somebody with 11 years of producing music really should be able to do. And this is not. Here's the thing about my abilities and my skill is that while I'm saying some things that sure sound like me bragging, being like I'm the best there is, I'm going to be the greatest producer, I'm going to have the highest producer power level, over 9,000 and whatever. But should I really be anything less after such a long time doing this stuff? Because there are plenty of people who have been producing for like a year that are already coming up on that level of proficiency on the kind of stuff that they're doing. Granted, it's a much more narrower field of what they're doing, but that's just because that's what normal music makers do. They have their thing, they go after their thing, and they do their thing. And they're really good at their thing because that's the thing they do. I'm just trying to do everything. And that's probably going to be, just what I do for the rest of my life. I'm kind of like I'm those people who are like lifelong college students. They just get so many degrees and they get they learn how to do like everything. They might not ever actually do anything, but they just keep learning and they just keep doing and they just keep, they keep acquiring abilities and degrees, that kind of thing. That's going to be me just for music. And I mean, that'll translate to some value for other people because I plan on sort of leveraging that in the tutorial sphere. In the meantime, though, like it's starting to kind of get that way. I can do most popular genres of music. I can do most popular styles of music. I just want to get into the depth of more interesting styles of music, like hardstyle. And I don't know, maybe I'll figure out some Far East sitar music too. But it's that's sort of what I want to do. I want to be able to do anything. I want to be that resource, that kind of engineer, that producer that could do anything there is. I'm obviously not there yet, but that's what I want to do. And so that's why when I do a hardstyle track that I am, as I said, trying to do like, trying to do a version that is sort of acceptable. So to like, a true test of that power would be if I were to be able to do a track in some genre and have people not know it was me and have them think it was someone else. For certain genres of music, that's not that difficult, just because of the simplicity of the genre. But, for more complicated things, that's obviously hard. It would be very hard for me to like make a track and be like, this is a Skrillex track, and have people believe that. It might be a bit easier with his more modern styles, but you know what I'm talking about. With genres that are more defined by their extremely unique sound design, that obviously gets to be more difficult. But it's actually kind of interesting how popular music is sort of going in that direction a bit. If not, literal pop music, stuff like trailers are utilizing that kind of sound design a lot these days, and that's kind of interesting. And I may leverage some of that too. Camera flipping out, glitching all over the place. I've never actually played Slenderman. Slenderman. People were talking about that a lot, but my camera, I don't know what that means. I mean, I kind of know what that means. I just never played it. Anyway, this has been sort of a spiel. Useful maybe to some people. Some people. I suppose the takeaway from this is that it really is not. It should not take you 11 years to get to the point where you feel like you can do whatever you want to do, as long as like if you have a bit of a more concise goal than I do, then that's a lot easier, especially nowadays when technology and software is just a lot better than it was in 2004. But the point that that's sort of what I want to do, is I want to learn how to do whatever that there is. That's what I want to do. And one day, that might eventually be the thing. When I'm like 90 years old, I could be like, I can do anything. And then on my deathbed, someone invents a new style of music. And I'm just like, no. That's going to be me. Anyway, if you have any questions about this, let me know. And as usual, have a nice day.